Hello. Happy Wednesday. Today's IG Live is right now instead of later today, which is great because I can focus. The kids are at school. I did something really brave today. I got my annual physical. Hello, friend. Which I hate going to the doctor. I know some people don't mind it. I have a lot of medical trauma from past surgeries and stuff, so I hate going to the doctor, but I found a doctor I love, and she was so sweet and so nice to have a good member of your team. And I planned ahead with my coach Gina, who's an expert on fresh starts, so I was feeling empowered, and it was great. And so I'm really grateful that is over. And then I just was on an amazing Zoom call with Cassie from Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best. I'm a huge fan of the podcast, and there's no podcast this week, and so they opened up a Zoom just to have people come chill, and it was so fun. So I did a bunch of work while I was hanging out with people. But today we have Joanne coming on. We're going to talk about Akashic Records. A little bit about, I am somebody that I believe in psychics. I believe in all sorts of spirituality. I have gone to psychics who I love very much. I believe in a lot of things, but I had never heard of the Akashic Records reading or what your Akashic Records are. And so when Joanne joined Fresh Starts Registry as an expert, and she said she was a Reiki healer and she's an Akashic Records reader, I was like, well, Reiki I understand, but Akashic Records I'd never heard of. So she actually did readings for myself and for Jenny, and we both got such validation out of them. So we invited her on to come talk about what Akashic Records are and how you can use them through your fresh start, because I really can see how somebody who is going through a fresh start would be interested in having their Akashic Records read. So I'm excited to talk to her today, and obviously we'll share this. We're a little bit behind with writing stuff on YouTube because it's been really crazy, but our hope is to eventually put all this content into a podcast. Fingers crossed. But it will definitely, I'm going to do a little bit of a blog post kind of about my experience getting read and what the specific things that came up in my reading were, because it was very validating for what I thought I should be thinking. So that's great. Instagram has been so crappy with telling people about the live, so let's hope that some people find us here. Other than that, our newsletter went out today announcing our partnership with Little Boxes NYC, who I talked about last night, are a small batch treat company in Brooklyn, and they're sister owned, and we've known them for a long time, and we're so excited to be partnering with them because what's better during a fresh start than cookies? So we are doing a giveaway with them. If you haven't entered, please go enter. And we are also have a specific discount code for Fresh Starts followers, which is on the Instagram post for 10% off. And they have subscription boxes. And if you're looking for if you're looking for a great gift for somebody going through something and you don't necessarily want to send them a thing, cookies are the best gift. So I'm hoping that this is working right, because Instagram. Let's wait for Joanne. She'll come on. I'm just checking here, making sure. So anyway, the newsletter went out today. I hope everybody got it. If you're not signed up for our newsletter, please make sure to do so, because there's always stuff going out. We have some very exciting kind of partnership phone calls coming up, so we're hoping to announce a lot of new partnerships. We have experts joining all the time. If you know somebody that would be a good Fresh Starts expert, please let them know to come find out more information. We'll send them a quick email with some info and how to apply, because this is the place to be, guys. This is the place in the community to be. Let's see if Joanne comes on here. Otherwise, what else is happening in Fresh Starts world? This week we had a couple awesome media placements for our experts. Something that we do kind of for our experts, because we're so excited to have them on board, is if we see media placements that are a good fit for them, we pitch them to the media. And so this week we had a real estate agent in Shondaland and one in apartment therapy. So it's another little perk of becoming a fresh starts expert and being part of the community. It is a beautiful day here on Long Island. It's still a little chilly. When I went to my physical today, I have veins that are very hard to get blood out of, like very, very hard. So they poked me all over. So I feel like a zombie with my arms out like that. Just making sure that hopefully this is working, because let's see here. I hope that people are finding this. Let's see. We'll wait a minute for Joanne. There she is. Okay. I'll invite her to join here. Hello.
Hi, Olivia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Welcome, welcome. Instagram is being so wonky, and it's like not telling anybody about anything right now. So I don't know what is going on, but we save everything. So this will definitely become a YouTube and a blog and all of that stuff. So, and hopefully a podcast if I have my way with it. Oh, now people are showing up. Great. Because I really want to do a podcast someday. So we'll get there. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
And it's beautiful. Is it beautiful by you? It's like chilly, but kind of nice here.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. The sun is shining. There's like a little cloud, but like not too much. So it's a beautiful day.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy to have you here. And I was just, before you got on, talking a little bit about how I had no idea what Akashic records were before I met you. And now I really feel like they're very important for people going through a fresh start. So if you could give us a little bit about like who you are and what you do, and then we can kind of lead that into what the heck are Akashic records.
Sure. So I'm Joanne Suriel. My business name is Energetic Well. I'm an Akashic Records reader, Reiki master practitioner. I'm also a sound healer. And I came upon the Akashic Records a few years ago, and even just hearing that word was super, like, there was something that really resonated with me. And then I later learned that Akasha is a Sanskrit word meaning primary substance. So it's like really our essence, like the core of who we are. Mm-hmm. And when I found out, more and what it was and learned how to read my own records, I just discovered how it was such a beautiful practice. And I really think it's something that can bring us home to our authentic selves, because, living in the world, having lives as human beings, mm-hmm. we can get so pulled in so many directions. We can get thrown off course. We can, find ourselves in a state of dis-ease. And whenever we can come back to balance, whenever we can come back to ourselves, that can bring about greater healing. So that is what this practice is, essentially.
I love that. So what are Akashic records specifically? Like, what are they a record of? Does everybody have them?
Yeah. So everyone has an Akashic record if you're a human being. Actually, non-humans can also have Akashic records, animals, definitely, properties, but really the records for us are it's like a library of every single thought and emotion your soul has ever experienced throughout lifetimes. So, we're in this lifetime, we have what we consider past lives, future lives. So throughout all of those lives, your soul has this history, and we can tap into those lessons from previous lives, for not even just from specific lives, but from the whole arc of your soul's existence, to find out what you need to know right now. So in a reading, we would ask and receive what information would be most helpful to you in the present moment. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of information. There can be a lot of information there, but
I know. I was just thinking, like, I think and feel so much in one day. How the heck do these records hold everything in all of the lifetimes I've ever lived?
Yeah, I mean, it's an infinite resource, so you can come back to it, you know, as much as you need to. And that's really the beautiful thing about learning to read your own records, is that you can go into them at any time. But really, even if you're not formally opening your records, you really have access to it. Like when you have those moments of like deja vu, or some kind of like something that you can tell there was like some previous imprint in whatever experience you're having, that is connected to your Akashic record, because you're remembering something from your soul's journey.
And just to be clear, because I'm the kind of person that would be like, records, like this is like a spiritual thing. It's not like actual.
Right. It's a metaphysical, non-physical library.
Right.
So
right. That's a great way to put it. So you have studied to tap into this, or how does that work?
Yeah. So I've studied with a few different teachers and a few different methods. So there are different ways to access your Akashic records. The one that is probably the most widely used is the one that I use, which is the pathway prayer process. So I read this prayer. I use your legal name, because your legal name carries a specific vibration. And then, so parts of the prayer are read out loud, some are silent, and at the end, I'll say the records are now open. And that would give me temporary access to your Akashic records. But there are other ways to access. There are other prayers. There are, you know, forms of hypnosis that can give you access. But this way is like, it's just really works very, very well. And this prayer was channeled through by a woman named Dr. Linda Howe. Actually, she channeled it on September 11th, 2001, which is a very, very cataclysmic day, but like at the same time, it was a very energetically charged day. And it's a really powerful process.
So is it kind of like opening up, like, like a cloud in a way that of your own spiritual records, and you can help people then sift through what they need at that moment?
Yeah. So when I say the prayer, you hear me refer to, I think you've heard me refer to the masters, teachers, and loved ones. And those are just names for different beings who are interested in your soul's growth.
Right.
So the masters are light beings who have never been on this earth, but who are interested in your soul, like throughout all of your lifetimes, interested in guiding you to learn the lessons that you want to learn, that you are meant to learn. And then the teachers are other, wise people who were on the earth at some point. Some of them are the biggies, like Jesus or Buddha or Mother Teresa, but some could be just like regular people who have ascended to this teacher status.
Okay.
And then there are the loved ones, who are usually people in your life at some point who are now deceased, who are interested in guiding you. Usually they don't reveal who they are in a reading, because they don't want you to attach to their earthly identity.
Okay.
I like to refer to this whole group as your cosmic team. So your cosmic team is like someone that you can, or is like a group of entities that you can work with, that they want to work with you too. But you can tap into their guidance to navigate whatever it is that you're working through.
Right, which is so much like on Fresh Starts, we refer to your experts as your hype team, right? So this is like your cosmic team that's part of your hype team. So you would be part of somebody's hype team and bring in their cosmic hype team as well.
Sure, yeah.
I love that. So I did, I was saying before you came on, but I did a reading with you, and I have had a couple days to process, and I think it's so interesting, as somebody that didn't know about this before, I really truly feel like it's very enlightening for people going through. any life change to do this, because it's not, you know, I know there's like a lot of people that are like, psychics are not real, blah, blah, blah. This is not, wasn't like so out there that there wasn't things I hadn't already been like processing and thinking myself, right? So a lot of what you said was so validating to me, because it was things that I'd already been like intuitively kind of maybe thinking in the back of my head, or, you know, in the process of thinking about it. And so when you brought up certain things, when, I'll be honest, like I'll share what you said to me because it's fine. There was nothing that was that personal in terms of that. But, you know, one of the my big problems, my big issues in life is I don't slow down. Like I don't stop, and then I burn out. And the word that you said kept coming up for me was to surrender. And, you know, that was so important for me to hear. I know that, right? Logistically, that's what I need to do. But to have you say, no, you're, you know, spiritually, that is really what you need to do, was so validating of like, I'm where I should be, and this is what I should be working on to better my own spiritual path. So I love that. I just thought everything you said was so validating, and just really like, again, nothing that was like, wait, where did that come from? Or like that, I'd never heard of that before, which really made me feel like you were tapping into so much of me and my Akashic records. And so I love that. But how would somebody that was going through a major life change, you know, I know it's very much guided by questions, right? Mm-hmm. So what are some questions that people might or have come to you with during major life changes? And like, how would you see that this would help them kind of in that next phase?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, what you said first was really resonates with this practice, because we're all intuitive beings, and so we're really all receiving all the time. It's just how open you are and how in touch you are with being able to listen to what is coming to you. So right. This practice is really about just clearing away all of the stuff and getting to that core essence of who you are and what you need to know. Yep. So some questions that have come up around people who have been, you know, navigating life changes are, mm-hmm. you know, so first of all, it's not supposed to be future predicting. This is right. really encourages free will. So we can tap into more of the why or what is happening. So some are like, you know, why did this person disappear from my life? Like, what was what was that about? Like, what am I supposed to learn from this? Like, what is the lesson? Right.
Because it's really about you. It's about what your journey is.
Right.
It's not about anybody else. It's not you're putting the onus on other people. This is how your soul can grow from what you've been through.
Absolutely. And in the records, we're not allowed to ask about other people's journeys. It's really about your journey. But you can relate. You can ask about how, right. you know, this person has affected you and why this person is in your life, or why your relationship is struggling in a particular way. So those are all things that come up, and they all have, you know, depending on the situation, it could be a past life issue. It could be just usually it's part of what your soul is here to learn, because relationships are really, those are like the big things that make you grow, that like really shake you, that really force you to strip away like all of your walls. You know, when you're in a relationship, you really have to bear who you are, and you learn so much about yourself. So, those are really, really great questions to come with.
Do you see people who have questions about like locations, like where should I be, or like, you know, how does that work with your Akashic records? I'm sure they're not going to say like San Francisco, but like, you know, do they give you like an idea of where you're spiritually supposed to be?
They can, yeah. If you ask about that, you can certainly get information about maybe what like what kind of climate, what kind of environment, And the beauty about the records is that you can ask really specific questions too about,
Oh, okay.
What kind of area or what kind of, just whatever, if you're not sure, if you're trying to make a decision between different places, perhaps they could
Oh, okay.
give you
Interesting. Or like, I would imagine, right. Or like a house, or, city versus suburban, or like all that. That's fascinating. So can you just tell us a little bit before we go about how you work with clients, how people typically, in terms of the Akashic records, because you also do Reiki healing and sound healing and all of that. But in terms of if somebody was like, this sounds so interesting, I would love to have my records read. Obviously people can go to Fresh Start's website. Your information is all there on the experts page. But what you work virtually, our session was virtual for this. So how do you typically work with clients? Do you do in person with the readings and all of that?
Yeah, I usually work over Zoom for the Akashic Records, but I also just started offering in-person Akashic Records readings in New York City at there's our space in Chelsea. But yeah, if you go to my website, energeticwell.com, you can book a session there. And it's a 45-minute session because we'll just go over a little bit about the process because a lot of people aren't really familiar with it.
Yeah.
And then we'll go into your records. You can ask whatever questions are coming up for you. And I help guide that process too, so because there are some kind of advice around how to ask or what kinds of questions to ask. And then I'll close the records, and then if you have any questions, we can talk about that. But really, it's like a session to session experience. I don't like to be a crutch for anyone. I really think that this process can be very empowering. It can help you really tap into your own intuition too. And it's also a healing session. So you are placed in this field of the Akasha for the time that we're in session. And that can really help carry you through what you're going through, but it can also just help elevate your own vibration so that you can be more in tune with yourself. So I don't recommend people come back for another session until they've really integrated and incorporated whatever advice that they've received, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense. You'll probably get the same information again.
And I could totally see how if you are somebody that went through a breakup or made a huge move to a new city and you're just kind of searching for your sense of self again, this would be a really, really great practice to just check in and like come back to yourself through your own readings, which I think would be really so beneficial for so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just say, this practice is really centuries, maybe even longer old. It's referenced in the Bible as the book of life. It's referenced in Hebrew texts and other, spiritual traditions, but it's really coming to the surface more now because I think there is really a collective elevation in consciousness. And so that's why we're receiving more of these tools to use. And yeah, like you said, it can be a very beautiful practice just to really come back to your authentic self.
Yeah. And you work nationally, obviously, or probably internationally, because it's Zoom. So if anybody is listening or is watching or, on the future watch, you can go to freshstartregistry.com, click on experts. Joanne is under healers, I believe, there, and it's one click button to get in touch with her. And I highly, highly recommend. Again, I've done this with Joanne myself, so I can tell you from experience, it was very validating. I took notes on things that I wanted to work on, and so highly recommend it. Is there anything else you'd love to share about this for anybody?
No, just that, I do offer Reiki as well, so anytime, like, this practice can really help bolster whatever else you're working on. If you're working through some kind of healing process, this is really like it's another layer that can help bolster that elevation.
And I would think too, if you're somebody that writes or journals and you're working through things journaling, I could see how getting your Akashic records read would really help that process, because it's very like the questions, the responses, and you're guiding people into what kind of them specifically should be working on in a very I found it in a very like concrete way, kind of for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it
You
is
know,
very
so
concrete, very
yeah, and so it
practical.
really helped. So like, for me then to take that to my journal and say, okay, in my Akashic readings, it said that I need to surrender and I need to find joy and gratitude and all of the stuff we talked about. That's all things, and you even said in my reading, like you can, write down your gratitude things and all of that. So I could see again how when people are building their hype team of healers, especially after a traumatic event or a breakup or a move or job change, having your records read would provide a lot more than just that one session. It's really giving you a lot to work on for the
Right,
future.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
to walk away with. And the only other thing that I'll add is that it really, when you go in, it's a space of non-judgment. There's no judgment.
Yeah.
There's no shoulding. It's very
Right.
much a loving space where you can receive this guidance, but there is no room for judgment at all. So all are welcome, and anyone can access their Akashic records.
Right. And I love that you always remind people, like, and that goes back to like using your intuition, right? Like anybody can access your Akashic records. You're there just to help guide them through the records, but this is not your, like you said to me, like, I'm not a gatekeeper. Like I'm not, holding like a lock. Like
Right.
anybody can have that. You're just somebody that has the ability to access the records a little bit more clearly and explain them to people.
Right. I like to say, I heard another reader give this analogy that, you can access your records at any time. It can be like looking at a house through the windows. But when we have this prayer process, it's like having the key to the front door. So we can
Right.
open the door, go inside, and look around and see what actually is happening very clearly.
I love that. And I will say to anybody listening too, like it was so calm and like casual in a really like nice way. And there was nothing that was like, I think when a lot of people think about healing processes, they get nervous that there's going to be like a reawakening of trauma or a reopening of a Pandora's box of all the things. This was like completely the opposite. It was so chill and positive and beneficial to my healing process. So I highly recommend to anybody interested to definitely reach out and try it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I try to make it,
Yeah.
how I am. I'm very, my goal is to share love. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really what this process is about.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. And if anybody has questions, make sure to follow Joanne. You can find her on Fresh Starts, make an appointment. She does so many amazing things. And thank you for being here. And we're going to share this and I'm going to blog and everything so people can definitely follow up if they have anything else. But have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Olivia. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
I'll talk to you soon.